Hello, and welcome back. Getting my fish swimming behind me. Oh, too many stars. Welcome back to the Awakening Philosophy Podcast. My name is Jed, and we are in the Sock and Jesus book. One of the greatest books ever written, I would have to say. Now, where are we in the book that bangs the most and the hardest? We have, last time we have been piecing the elements of this section. I guess we could use the sections from chorus to chorus as sections, because at regular intervals the chorus jumps in and responds the way that not most, but a lot of people would respond to hearing this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's fair. To try and shut it down. Now, we've been seeing the anti-chorus respond to the chorus and help us out by helping us understand what's behind that desire to shut things down. Fear of their own mind. Now, what we've been doing through the book is learning where what the cause of that fear is. The introduction of false beliefs, because as we've been understanding, belief as a use of the mind, as a cognitive function, is a negative thing. It's not a good thing. It's not a neutral thing. It's a bad thing. Because beliefs, when you accept a belief, especially one about yourself and the divine or reality, that is in opposition to evidence or can't be proven, faith, you also have to stomach the pill that absurdity is the height of reason, and that is perhaps the most obscene and unjust thing a soul can stomach. So you are always in conflict with yourself, causing you to project that conflict on others. Projection. To accept belief, you have to be taught to fear your own understanding. If you could understand it for yourself, why would you have to believe someone else? Equally so, if you could experience it, mind, equally so for the self. You don't have to believe you have a self, you are self. So, self, mind, understanding are the three levels of development we're supposed to be moving into as human beings. The issue that makes us stupid and violent and irrational and immature is that belief is in opposition to it. So we've been understanding that as we've been going through. And it's that fear of understanding, as well as a savage, zombie-like or barbarian desire to save belief, that is causing the chorus to yell out and say, "No, didn't we kill you, philosophers? Understanding, we're too dumb to understand. You can only believe." I mean, there is an intrinsic absurdity to that, because believe who? Out of the hundreds of thousands of different religions, and out of the billions of different interpretations of the religions, which belief? Well, they mean their own. I am the special person who has all the beliefs. Says, well, that's the intrinsic absurdity behind belief. Understanding, however, is universal. Anyone can understand. Understanding benefits. Understanding is universally applied, therefore we can make laws that are in harmony with with understanding and with our understanding of the laws of reality and what benefits. That's why we don't like hypocrisy in politicians and clergy, and we don't like that they lie, because all of the things that rub up against us as disgusting and bad, but we don't understand why they are bad, so we don't get up in arms and demand all of those people, politicians and clergy, who are lying and contradicting and hypocrites, lose their job. We don't understand why we don't like it, but the reason is, well, because it betrays that they're not following universal principles of understand that can be understood. And that's what's needed to benefit. We have this standard for every other profession except for kings and clergy, which is interesting. Now, I'm just gonna fix that a little bit for my ears. Whoops. Whoops. Oh no. What's happened here? There we go. I think we're good. Give me 1 second. Okay. And that goes there, and then this goes here. Straight out. Alright, that's the game. We are born to address the cause of that fear that causes us to be a chorus hater, a fear of understanding, and a loyalty to belief, so that we can develop understanding. So last time we applied this fundamental principle that we've been learning from the book by reading it ourselves without a need to project our own beliefs, which is why it took us 2,500 years to listen to Socrates. It required a philosopher to come along who had gone through philosophical midwifery and dream analysis to remove the causes of their own particular beliefs. If they hadn't have done that, their beliefs would have, again, it's a zombie virus. It controls you. You don't have it. Without philosophical midwifery, those beliefs will control our soul and get us to reject the words of Socrates and try and find ways of sneaking our own beliefs in. And if you've ever watched any other philosopher on YouTube, that's what they do. That's all they do. That's their whole thing. They find some work from some big name, someone who's respected in the field, and they find a way of wangling their own beliefs in. Always. But not just always, but necessarily so. So look at one philosopher. You'll see they'll do it. Your favorite YouTube philosopher. Not me, because I rule. But then notice that the many do it. Not just one, but lots. And then reflect on why that has to be the case from what we've been reading, to see that all do that. Do what? Look for opportunities to project their own personal beliefs, most of which are unsuspected, into whatever it is they're reading. Now, this is a 3-stage movement, from one to many to all. And this is interesting because in the book, even though we've been developing an understanding of this, understanding of the meaning of life, to master the art of dialectic in the study of philodianoia, the love of understanding, to move from belief to understanding, there is a section of the book that has talked about love. We are still humans. It isn't simply typing in this rationality into our operating system and then we're away. No, there's love and desire is a part of the game. And Socrates has been referring to the symposium, because the symposium matches each of those cognitive stages of development we go through in that movement from belief to understanding, maps them to stages of or levels of beauty, and describes how Socrates was led through the desire for beauty, love, to apprehend higher levels of beauty, and at each he would add, or the logos would be added to that. So love and logos, allowing him to progress through different experiences and perceptions of beauty, along with progressing through different cognitive functions. That's the symposium. And for each of those levels, in order to make that movement from one level to another, from body to soul, there are those 3 stages. See beauty in one body. Find a pretty girl and give her lots of kisses. And then 2 bodies. What's that saying? Get yourself a girl that can do both. Get yourself a girl that swings both ways. And kiss 2 bodies. Or see the beauty that exists in 2 forms, physical forms. And then realize the beauty that is in one, or is in both, can't be unique to one, but applies to all bodies. The principle. Now notice, we've been developing hierarchies of gods. There are 12 Olympian gods that we've been looking at that are in groups of 3. Now, what's interesting about these triads, let's look at the one that we're most interested in. The one that we're talking about now, beauty and reason, or Aphrodite and Apollo. Because when you have 2 of them together, down here, Apollo and Aphrodite, when you bring them together in their highest excellence, you reach the top of the pyramid, or the hypaxis, which for this one is Hermes. Let me just... I'll knock 5 decibels off the bass. Make it 6. In honor of Metallica. So, 1, Apollo, 2, Aphrodite, 3. And the thing about the third is it's not only it's the hypaxis, or the principle that allows for all underneath, but it's also, while being the top of one level, a hypaxis functions as the bottom of the other level. Another example we have of that is the people who live on our soundboard.
I'm too pure.
But no, there are people in the world who are doing the best at this game. They have an interest in understanding and addressing human problems, solving human problems. They are themselves attracted to or love understanding. Applied to the physical world, solving political problems, mainly. Problems that apply to all. As they make that movement, Socrates calls that philomethesis, love of learning. But as people develop a love of learning, learn things that apply to themselves, their particular interest they have, realize that this can apply to other people too, people in their immediate circle, their loved ones, and help them. Maybe even realize that what they're learning can apply to different skills and maybe apply to everyone in politics. They can awaken a realization that what they are after is, or what they have been doing is, understanding. And if understanding is necessary, if what makes them able to solve problems is understanding, and what is the cause of problems by the fascists and the right-wingers and capitalists is belief, and how they function is in opposition to understanding, they have a propaganda wing that tries to silence understanding, cancel comedians who make jokes that reflect understanding, murder journalists who want to share understanding, put an end to universities that allow for understanding, remove healthcare and any sort of social safety net so children are too hungry or dying so they can't develop understanding and challenge them. Once they realize that, they have gone from the many to the principle. They have reached principles. Human problems are caused in principle by beliefs and are solved in principle by understanding. That's the hyparxis, because those principles that apply to all, again, Apollo's first, one, many, all, what allows the highest expression to apply to all is in the physical world is that it's non-physical. 1 and 1 will always equal 2, not because there is a special book in a special library that is written down by the founding fathers, by the Apostle Paul, by Mohammed himself, that says 1 + 1 = 2, and we must save the Constitution or save the Bible or whatever. No. It applies universally for always, for any race, at any planet, at any time, in any galaxy, maybe even any multiverse, because it's not physical itself. It has a scope over the physical dimension because it's not physical. It is in the realm, therefore, of metaphysics. That's metaphysics. Now, another word to describe the physical world is the world of becoming, because everything is coming into existence. A tree is growing to a mighty oak tree, and then decaying or coming out of existence, and then it falls and then becomes the mush for other trees. Becoming, while the metaphysical realm is always existence or is always being. So, metaphysics is the study of the realm that has an existence, that we have to turn our attention away from our physical senses and collect it together as a single sense out of our body to experience. That's the levels of enlightenment experiences, by the way. Itself having a progression, as we've been talking about, to its own hyparxis. But that's the movement from the level of becoming to being, or love of learning, philomethesis, to the love of wisdom, because it's the experience and the understanding of that has been called wisdom in this book. Philosophy, from philomethesis to philosophy. And of course, the big mystery that we've been carrying all the way through the book is, while Plato talks about this movement, first of all, he lets us down. I mean, we killed Socrates before he was able to write all this down. He was in the process of beginning to write this down when we murdered him. So let's not do that again, humans. Plato talked about this a lot, but didn't nail down a lot of the things, a lot of the yogas, a lot of the methods that we would have liked to have nailed down. For example, how specifically do you collect your soul together from your body? How specifically do you separate it out of your body and keep it together? How specifically do you make sure that you're not flying around the physical world and becoming, they call a metaphysical tourist, but you transition into this realm of being? Didn't write that. He described that there are stages and that it's the exercise of philosophy. But also what Plato missed is the level above. Because even this progression through metaphysics, and by the way, it's this realm of being or metaphysics that is personified as the gods. Apollo, Aphrodite, and Hermes up in here are not real people. They are personifications in stories to represent those very principles and forces. Meaning the gods end here at Zeus, the top god, Mr. Number One, the god who we say,
bless you, excuse you, bless you.
Bless you, excuse you, bless you to Zeus. Because this is the realm of theology. The next realm above the realm of being is not. It's a whole different kettle of fish. because it itself, if this here is the realm of experience, everything you experience is in the realm of being and becoming, there must be principles that allow for that to exist, which have to themselves be, just as the principles that apply to all the physical world have to be outside the physical world, so too the principles that apply to all experience have to be outside of the realm of experience. But also, our movement through the physical world is through understanding. That's the highest use of the logos, or reason. Not just reason, it's also directly experienceable. In other words, that realm of being is also rational. But we experience it. So it's that union of, just as wisdom is a union of experiencing this and understanding it, so too can you use the word intelligible to mean not just rational or able to be apprehended through understanding and reason, but experienceable. You can verify it. So that means there is that intelligible nature. The word for that is the logos, that extends through all of these gods, including Zeus, and all of our physical world, allowing you to understand music and astronomy and cooking, everything that we understand in the skills and arts that we develop here. So the understanding of the logos that allows for the understanding of all other skills and arts is the dialectic. Therefore, the highest art, or the single art, is the art of dialectic. The gift from Hermes, that's Hermes. The gift of Hermes, the dialectic, given to us from Prometheus in the story to save mankind, is the highest art the highest art that unfolds from, well, that first of all, in our upward movement, because this is the anagogic triad, allows us to reach Zeus, which is the highest aspect and functioning of the metaphysical world. But as it's the hyparxis, it's the one that is able to go through the doorway to the next level, the self, or the one self, or the good self. So those are the three levels. Now, Plato was able to talk about this, and now that we have the Balboa translation, we can actually read Plato for the first time in thousands of years. Thank you, Balboa. Of course, and thanks to Pierre Grimes, who introduced philosophical midwifery and dream analysis back into our culture, allowing one Balboa to go through that, so that when he was translating, he wasn't doing the same thing everyone else does, projecting his own beliefs. That's how come we have a good translation. But Socrates goes beyond Plato. So Socratic philosophy takes you all the way to our goal of knowing the self. Platonic philosophy is, you could say, reaches this level. And of course, Aristotle rejects metaphysics completely and just loves learning only. Aristotle is down here. Now, because it only applies to the material world, or the physical world, or the world of becoming, that's called materialism. Now, there are philosophers who like the language of Plato, or like the language of philosophy, but they are in a tradition of Aristotle. Those are everyone else on YouTube, or everyone else at universities, all of the other modern philosophers. They're Aristotelian. Now, the name given for people who use the language of Plato but apply it to only the physical world is Stoicism. They use the same words, courage, wisdom, etc., but they only apply it to here, Stoicism. They're Stoics, whether they like it or not. Anyone trying to save belief. Maybe there's a philosopher you like, and there are some that I like, but of course they're stuck because they're trying to save belief. How can we make it so everyone's right? Let's save Christianity and save Islam and save this tradition and save that tradition. Everyone is right all the time. Yay, 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 yay. Because what prevents them from realizing that beliefs are the problem and understanding is benefiting, and saving beliefs is the very cause of our haterade and our copium? Their own individual belief. In other words, I don't want conflict in my family. I hate it when mummy and daddy fight. Can't we just use my intelligence to make everyone right? Dad's beliefs, dad's sexist beliefs are also right, and mum's non-sexist beliefs are right. Can't everyone just get along? Well, yes, you can get along, but not through belief, because belief is a principle of conflict within the soul, and beliefs have to always create conflict with other people. That's why there always be killing people. They always be starving people. They always be genociding people. That's why there is no right-wing political party. It's just the pathologos party. It's belief from childhood that you haven't addressed because you haven't done midwifery or dream analysis. That's it. Now, we're not blaming people for not having done it, because we killed Socrates and we lost dream analysis and midwifery. Therefore, Plato wasn't able to midwife his student Aristotle, so we lost metaphysics with Aristotle. And this has been the last 2,000 years. Which is why we're so fucking stupid as a race. We're still killing each other. We're still destroying our environment. Why? It's dumb. Don't do that. Hey, you sleep in a bedroom. Do you want to blow it up? But someone's going to give you $5 if you blow it up. Capitalism. Dumb. It's so dumb. Clearly dumb. And all of the people who run propaganda for the dumbness are also dumb. Why are we so dumb? Historically, this is the reason. Epistemologically, or how we think, belief is the reason. Ontologically, or levels of reality, staying in the physical world of becoming is the reason. So, two things together. Aphrodite, that awakens our desire for ousia by seeing that these things all come together. Along with Apollo, we have to be reading the book to get all these pieces to apply our reason to. But as we reflect in this way, we love how it comes together. You bring it together, you bring it together, you bring it together, and you reach the level of principles. So those people who love understanding in the world, that's what we want to encourage them to get into, to make the hyparxis transition from the love of understanding in the physical world, or the desire to solve problems in the physical world, to the principles that you are using within understanding itself. Understand understanding. Because if you can do that, you can also understand its distortion, belief. You can understand its rejection, the Democrats. Nothing. There is no principles. You can also understand the cause of understanding, knowledge, which is the direct apprehension of yourself as eternity. And in doing so, you can slay your fear of death. Or, as Socrates puts it, Theseus can defeat the Minotaur. Because understanding itself is the principles of, so the intelligibility that exists eternally is what we're making use of through understanding. That's why you can solve all problems, because you love understanding. That's the source of understanding. And of course, that movement that we go through as human beings through those hyparxis, through the development of understanding, by looking at one thing, looking at many things, and going to the principle of all things, you can apply it to even the Platonic realm of pure being. Have one experience of the brilliant light of being, have lots of experiences of it, and then realize in your reflection through the logos or understanding, realizing that, oh, I experienced pure beauty, I experienced justice, I experienced beauty, I experienced truth. It was the most real thing. I experienced reality. These are all different aspects that might be at the surface of your different experiences. Just like on Earth, you experience electricity more when you stick your finger in a socket, or you experience wind resistance more if you fall out of an airplane, because it's right in your face. But electricity and wind resistance and gravity are always constant everywhere. There are just times when you experience one aspect of the laws of the physical world more than others, but they're all there and they're all interconnected. You couldn't have wind resistance without gravity. And just ask Einstein, you can't have gravity without electricity. That's a dumb joke. Because that's what they're looking for, right? The universal field theory tries to unite the forces of electricity, electromagnetism, the forces of nuclear, was it weak and strong nuclear forces with gravity as well. But forget that's I shouldn't have even talked about that. I ain't no scientist. Yeah, so you can have this experience, hopefully more than once. Reflect on it. All of the ways that you make sense of it: beauty, reality, truth, justice, perfectly ordered, necessarily justice. Now you have to go to, well, hang on a second, if they are all aspects, because can you have beauty without justice? Can you have goodness without it being just? Can you have goodness without it being beautiful? Can it be real without it being true? All of these things are connected. So all of the principles that we use, that we experience in the physical world, we see beautiful things, we seek just things, but also all of the principles we use in understanding, whole, part, same, different, like, unlike, they're not different files in different filing cabinets up in the sky on some clouds. Well, where do they exist then? Where are those principles? In that experience. In the highest experience of mind turning around and knowing itself as mind, that's ousia. That's ousia. The nature of the physical world is, of the non-physical world of being, is ousia. It doesn't have a physical shape in a physical place. It's the causes of that. It's pure ousia, or pure mind knowing itself. Therefore, if you look at all of these gods here, they're all about ousia. The activity of ousia, dialectic. The most profound use of our turning about upon ourselves is the dialectic. Aphrodite is the power of love that awakens ousia. Hera is the power of ousia that has the capacity to turn about upon itself in ousia, which is extended to all of us, individuals. Demeter is the functioning through the power of ousia by reverting upon itself to elevate existence, to grow, like a flower. Demeter, the god of the harvest and spring. So what? So So it's this self-reflection on A, our problems, and B, our highest excellence. There's another pair that we can awaken our own ousia through understanding. What's understanding? The principles of the logos. And once you realize it applies to you, one, and your friends, many, you can take the next step, 1, 2, 3, to all. The principles that we are learning here of self-reflection, of the dialect, of through reason to solve problems and reach our excellence applies to all people. Therefore, it has to be the hyparxis, that's Hermes. The principle that allows us to solve problems and reach excellence for all people in all galaxies for all time, that's Hermes, or the dialectic. Now you've reached the level of principles. Now you're in philosophy. One, many, all. And you don't lose that because you've upgraded. That principle of the dialectic is also the lowest level of the next realm. In other words, you take it with you to the next realm, allowing you to not just have the experiences of those things we mentioned, but to dialectically reflect on it the way you've been learning, to realize that there must be a cause for even all of that. That's the logos. The cause of the activity of the dialectic, or the highest aspect of, or the hyparxis of pure intelligence, or pure ousia, or being, is, well, the principle of its intelligibility. For you to know it and understand it, for it to be rational and experienceable, means there has to be a principle that applies to all of them. That's the logos, the highest aspect, or the hyparxis of that, meaning it's that very logos which we have to puzzle about for our transition into the next realm, the movement from Platonic to Socratic, or from the realm of being to the realm of self. Or cognitively speaking, the removal of beliefs is that fourth cognitive function. Okay, we got massive difference below. The people who say, oh, nothing is anything, it's all relative. The modern Democrats, no principle. Fourth is that cognitive function of belief. 3 is the development of understanding that we take with us all the way through. 2 is that knowledge experience. That's this realm of being here. Therefore, Socrates saying, what I don't think I know, I won't confuse with what I do know. In other words, what I don't know, I don't think I do, was his quote. Because this is ousia, and it's beautiful and blissful and true and good, all of those qualities. In fact, they are the highest qualities, the highest positives that we can use. Welcome, Sus. That's the cognitive function of knowledge. So you're not going to convince something you know with something you don't, or something you don't with something you do. Welcome, welcome. And of course, that's this level, and the first, or the cognitive stage of knowing the self, the realm of Socrates beyond Plato. That's what we are aiming to move into. That's our goal of knowing thyself. Know thyself. You are you. What are you? That's the goal. And therefore, we have to look closely on the logos that we've been developing. I don't know anything about tarot, I'm afraid. I am ignorant, oblivious. Why do you ask about tarot? So, the hyparxis of the logos is what we are looking for as an object of knowing and understanding. The two together is wisdom. Therefore, the highest thing that we want to apply our wisdom to is the logos, because it allows us to, well, it will some way be the doorway through which we can reach the self. So what? Well, so here is our principle of, well, first of all, 2 things. Because of Halloween. I see. Halloween is lots of fun. Lots of cute decorations and sweaters and things representing Halloween this season. Lots of fun. Not so big in America and Australia. We don't have trick-or-treating. Expect no loving raids from you? Oh, you're streaming your Halloween. Or what? No, you're streaming tarot card readings? I'm confused. What are you going to be streaming? Your trick-or-treating or your tarot card readings? I know you won't ban me if you see me raid you. Oh yeah, you can raid me if you want. I don't think I've had a raid on this channel before. I'm not very popular. No self-promoting, just a heads up. Oh no, yeah, you can raid me. And then if I ever get anyone other than you in my chat, then I'll raid your channel. Sure. I'm not the most popular. I'm not the most popular streamer on YouTube. I think that's the greatest injustice humankind has ever seen, however. Yeah, of course. So, this principle of one, many, all. Whether it be people who love understanding, realizing it helps their life, realizing it helps many people's lives, to the point of realizing, oh, there must be a principle behind what I'm doing that makes me a more popular streamer than than Jed. That applies to all. That's the principle, that's the hyparxis, that's the transition to the realm of principles, that's the movement to philosophy or metaphysics. That's the next stage. And then, of course, you take that with you to do the same thing to that level to reach the self. So what? Also, this principle, I am inspired today by Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, and the goddess that represents the principle of seeing the parts come together into wholes. Because in the yoga of love, the spiritual method given to Socrates by the great Diotima, a lady, a master of the Logos lady.
I'm cute. Like, it's cutie pie.
Who is a cutie pie, maybe, says Emma, is the yoga of love. But for each of those stages of cognitive development that will allow you to move from your own beliefs and opinions and images, shapes and colors, through understanding to knowledge, and then beyond to that higher level of self. At each stage of beauty, there is a level of love and beauty, or a level of beauty attached to each of those cognitive stages. But she talks about the movement from one to the other by seeing, let's take the first one, beautiful bodies. Anyone with eyes can see that. And a soul, of course. Because, as we've seen, the fact that we can recognize beauty, even though we ain't been taught about it, is because we are remembering our soul's experience from here, where beauty itself exists. So our physical senses are reminders of what our soul knows from its nature, or its ousia, or the nature of mind itself. Meaning we've had this experience before. And as we've been reading, we get it every time we die. To the extent you can, what's the word in the text? I think it's endure. Endure? Yeah. To the extent to which okay. So the problem earlier in the book, Socrates said we had a problem because Socrates didn't write anything down. He left it to people to write about what he was writing, left it to people. The burden of that task of presenting his work was too much for those who couldn't endure the profound nature of that light. So it's difficult to talk about metaphysics and the movement from metaphysics to self if you can't endure that experience, because that experience is intense and it's pure light and it's pure beauty, etc. Corresponding? That's not how you spell it. How do you spell corresponding? Light. Let's just try light. Oof, it's gonna be lots of lights. Being. It's gonna be lots of beings. How about die? How about die? In the book, Socrates says, we all experience that brilliant light of being when we die, and to the extent... Let's try extent. Endure. Hey, first spam for the day. Thank you. Who's the guy? Adam Smith. His ideas of the invisible hand allowing ignorant people to justify oppression through capitalism because magic. Endure, maybe? Here we go. Upon death, page 130. Upon death, all experience the most brilliant light of being. To the degree one is able to endure that divine luminosity, to that very degree there is a corresponding profound depth or shallowness of one's way of being. So, right at the beginning, page 20, Socrates saying, hey, the reason why we're stuck is, well, one of the reasons is, well, we killed Socrates before he wrote it down. Equally so, Jesus didn't write his own stuff down. He left it to Paul and, you know, the disaster that followed that. But Socrates saying, hey, we left it to people who weren't themselves able to endure that divine luminosity experience, so they're not that familiar with it. You know, imagine being an NFL commentator and you've only seen one football game. It's going to be very hard. That's philosophy. That's Plato. That's where we're at. Our job is to experience it lots and lots and lots. One experience, reflect on it, read these books, share it with your friends, keep your cool, recognize their ups and downs, do dream analysis and midwifery, allowing you to have it many, many times, and then go all the way to the top of that. It's hyparxis. It's the principle of that experience, which is that movement through the doorway to the next level, the self. So, yeah, to the experience, to the level that we can endure that light, allows us to understand it better, but also affects our way of being. That's interesting. So, beautiful bodies. Oh, so the reason we're talking about that is, if we have been reincarnated after our previous death, we had an experience of that to whatever level. Now, not enough because we reincarnated back into the physical world, but we still are able to recognize beauty. Now, you might say, well, who are the best souls? Well, people who care more, people who are more beautiful in their soul, people who love understanding the most. In other words, people whose level of being corresponds to the depth of that experience. But that also applies not just for souls, but in our lifetime. People are smart not because they are, born the right color or went to Harvard. No, you are intelligent to the extent you can participate in intelligence itself. That's why all these Harvard-educated people are all fucking bankers and finance bros and shit, doing objective harm to everyone for their short-term profits at the expense of their own soul, their own reincarnation, everyone around them, and the destruction of all life for a few extra bucks, bro. For a Bugatti, bro. So, our intelligence and our goodness or our level of being is directly proportional to the amount we can participate in intelligence itself, or that brilliant light of pure being. Equally so, it's the memory of that allows us to recognize those things in our physical world. You haven't seen a physical beauty walking down the street, or truth or justice walking down the street, giving you a wave. You recognize these as adjectives that are applied to physical things because of that memory. And the people with a greater sense of justice or a greater appreciation of beauty are those with a greater level of development of soul, simply judged on the level to which they can participate, dwell in the brilliant light of being, reality. So, even the simplest noodle can see a beautiful person. And Diotima says to Socrates, see one beautiful person and then make speeches about them. Again, don't be stupid. Don't keep your mouth shut. Don't make love with the lights off. Talk. Love and logos. Talk. Use your words, your awakening words, because words are essential for beauty. It's the intelligibility of beauty. Words are voicing it. So, make beautiful speeches about that beautiful person. Then, see a beauty in a second person and realize that it's the same kind of beauty in many, or it wasn't just that one person who has the monopoly of beauty. It also is in another person. So you're one step away from the physical world by realizing that it's not just a physical thing. It's some sort of principle that applies to many physical things. You are growing up. Now, you take that further still to realize that that principle has to apply to the beauty of all physical bodies. There's our one, many, all, or principle, or cause, you could even say if you're fancy. Aphrodite, principle that applies to all. The next level is now you're able to see maybe beautiful souls. Same process. See one beautiful soul and give beautiful speeches. No, not beautiful speeches anymore. Conversations. Or share beautiful words that can improve the soul of that person. Can you share whatever understanding you've been developing here of this, what we're talking about right now, to help them whatever level they're at in their movement from one understanding what a beautiful soul's like, or they are kind and caring and rational. So realizing that their kindness or their empathy and their care and their reason, their Aphrodite and Apollo, their reasoning, harmonious reasoning, and their beautiful bringing it together into a beautiful simple whole, doesn't just apply to their one person but applies to many people, and then doesn't just apply to many people but applies to all people as a principle that underlines what they were doing. So in other words, share logos that benefits the soul of that beautiful soul. So those are the first two stages, and there are more of course in the symposium, that marries love and logos. Because we're humans. There has to be something motivating us. So I could be reading this book which has all of the best words in the world, as we started the stream today by saying, best book written. Or at least top 5. Let's be safe and say top 5. But if I'm not beautiful, or if the stream isn't beautiful, or if it's not, people aren't inspired to read it, then it doesn't go anywhere. You need, because we're human beings. Talking to ChatGPT, you could make the case that ChatGPT could read it, but human beings are different. We have that need for awakening our will. And we've been talking a lot about this in the book, the need to inspire through our own excellence of self, in taking whatever excellence of self you are at right now. If you're watching this channel, you are one of the best noodles there are. Even if you don't understand anything, the simple fact you are there, you are here, means you're reading about the very thing to make that hyparxis transition from the many to this new way of being. So, play, make stuff, whatever level you're at. Why? Because whatever level you're at, you'll be reflecting up the principle of Apollo and the principle of Aphrodite, trying to use everything you've been learning, even if it's a little bit, you're still a little bit ahead of everyone else. Trust me, you are. And there aren't a lot of people who are at this level just being interested. So you're already a top noodle. But use everything you've been learning about the Logos, that's Apollo. Try and put it together in some sort of whole. You'll find it will be beautiful because it's rationally ordered. You're using reason. And share it. Because that can inspire people to do the same. And the more that they are inspired, Aphrodite, to participate in reason, Apollo, the closer they get to the underlying principle of that. What is the ability to participate in that? Hermes. What is the underlying cause of the intelligibility of music, the beauty and the harmony of music? Hermes, the dialectic. It's a reflection of the dialectic through time, I say. Yeah. And Hermes is the art that we're all here to learn as our purpose. It's the art of all arts, but it also allows us to solve problems and reach excellence. Again, another 1, 2, 3. Bless you, excuse you, bless you.
Freak. You've been a bad little. The more holes. Bless you. Excuse you. Bless you.
Thanks, Emma. I have to redesign my soundboard so I have that on a drop that I can find instantly. So yeah, share it. Share your self-excellence, whatever level you're at. So what? So one, many, all. Now, if this is a principle, then you can take it as a template and put it over other triads. Is there a way of understanding Apollo in the sense that it's one? Think about it. Is this principle of the beauty of everything coming together as a beautiful whole that inspires us? Could that be a many? Is the principle of Hermes, the dialectic, could that be an all? See, this is how you have fun with it. You find a similar set of things like triad here, or with our dialectic, there's a set of 4. And if you have any other sets of 4 or sets of 3s, you can put them on top of each other. Last time we did this very thing with sets of 2s. We saw, hang on a second, the meaning of life is to perfect or purify our problems, our beliefs, and perfect our understanding. But you could also say, remove our pseudo-excellence model that inspires our soul and perfect true excellence. You could also say, remove injustice by addressing its cause, beliefs, and master true justice. Escape our fate and reach our higher purpose, destiny, the destiny of all beings. You could say, what else have we got on the table? Oh, and you could also do it to multiple levels if you have an analogy. We have the analogy of an individual. Here's our 1. To all, to our soul, to mankind. Now maybe mankind would be many, and maybe our soul would be all. I'm not sure. You can pick which one is the all, which one is the many. For example, for an individual, our job is to purify our specific false belief from our specific origin scene with our specific parents or parental surrogates, to remove the specific fate that we've been playing out and blocking us from our excellence. But for humanity or mankind, our job is to do the same thing, but to many, or rather all, I suppose. All of the clan beliefs that can come into existence. So justice isn't putting people into a cage or bombing the shit out of their family. That doesn't solve problems. That's retributive justice. That's our shit justice system currently. It is recognizing that every sort of injustice we are here to purify, allowing us as a species to purify all clan beliefs that are the root cause of all human problems. And now for the next level, this is the thing, same two-ness. Oh, and also to create the excellence of mankind. To reach the excellence of you as an individual. And the next level we played with last time was souls. So, while you have an individual clan belief and self-image mask that causes your problems that you identify with and will also cause your negative incarnations, that self-identification. I am a this, I am a that, I am a this, I am a that. Humankind is to address all of the different clan beliefs that need manyness. You need a manyness to have a clan. So what are the two aspects? You have clan beliefs that you're born into that give you you have the clan beliefs that result in your mask. So humanity's job is to address all of those clan beliefs, just as your soul that has all its reincarnations has its job to address all of the possible masks. These are all of the lifetimes that your soul will experience to play out all of the experiences and implications and inevitable successes or failures of all of the masks. All of the masks that you can identify as a reincarnating soul in every lifetime. So those are our 1, 2, 3. Clan beliefs, or mask would be a 1, I suppose. Clan beliefs would be a many. And the two come together in the hyparxis of our pathologos, or false image of the self. Mask is a 1, clan beliefs require a many, and the triad of doom, the devil's triad. The two come together for your false image of the self that's the cause of all human problems, and the very thing we are here to purify, to allow us a freedom to perfect the true nature of the self, or our ultimate excellence to know a self. So there's another duad. See, this is the fun. I think we have a picture of this. Oh, maybe over here. The fact that we're also learning what it means to be a philosopher, which is a reader. We're just reading, but we're reading in a certain way. And one of those things that we're doing is we're waiting for my board to load. I hope it hasn't frozen. We look for questions and we carry them in our question sack. We make our own hypothesis. We don't identify with them. I am a this, I am a racist, I am a Catholic, no, these are hypotheses that are likely explanations for your questions, but you carry them, you don't play favorites, do you see what pans out? But also we look for patterns, 2s and 3s, here we go, it loaded up. And it was a waste of time because there is no picture. Oh, okay. Okay, normally you have a picture of what it means to be a philosopher. You are a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So this is the wizard. With his beard. And his wizard's hat. Oh my goodness, I'm not in a drawing mood today. And your staff. And you have your sack of questions. and you have your sack of ifs or hypothesis. But you also have your skill tree, where you have your skill tree of ones. Your question sack over here. Oh, that is a terrible... I'm going to have to redraw this guy. Put a little bit of time into it. So here is you. Wizard Harry. And your... wizard's hat. And your wizard's robes. Oops. And your wizard's staff. And your boots. You also have your Sherlock Holmes cap. Your Deerstalker. Oh, that's awful. Okay, you've also got your Sherlock Holmes pipe. And draw that better. Because you are a puzzle solver. And you're a wizard because you are on... Oops. Many are the staff bearers, few are the true mystics, those are the philosophers. So you're a true mystic. This is a quote from Socrates. Many carry a staff and claim they are spiritual, but the true spiritual people are philosophers. It's easy to see because do they have logos? If you have logos, you're a philosopher. If you don't, you're not. And if you don't have logos, then how are you going to understand all of your trips? Your mushroom trips, your meditation trips, your yoga trips. And if you've got belief, you've got neither the experience nor the understanding, then you can't be a spiritual dude. You may be preaching and you may have all the money and you may be using that power to play out your pathologos false beliefs. That doesn't make you spiritual. So you're a true mystic. But you also have the wizard's hat, which means that you are on the hero's journey.
I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
This is what it means to be on the hero's journey. So all of... talked about this last episode. All stories, animes, films are all expressions of this same single hero's journey. And they're all mythological at varying levels of excellence, but this is the archetype of the true hero's journey. It's what we're doing here. Love of philodianoia. Journey, which is philodianoia. Not philosophy, because that word's been stolen by Aristotelians and Stoics. Philodianoia. A love of understanding. And we saw that in text too. Pull it up. Hero. Your place is among the philosophical heroes, says Jebus. And Heracles is the one who was able to go into Hades and slay all of the shadows, or pathologos. And of course, the hero Achilles is somebody in Homer who goes through a philosophical midwifery and dream analysis in the Iliad. Sorry, not the Odyssey, the Iliad. So, hero. So let's do our question sacks better. So as we read, we develop questions and put them in our question sack. That goes in our inventory that we carry with us. Woof. Let's do it this way. Let's go. My laundry's beeping. We're done. Have our question sack, and we have our hypothesis sack. Questions and our ifs. Because it's not knowledge, it's if it is the case, this. There's another absurdity behind belief. I know it's true that Jesus is the one to heaven, the one you have to believe in. No, you don't know that. It can't be. That's not what knowledge is. It's an if statement. That's the thing. That's the distortion of belief. While understanding are ifs. If it is the case that beauty exists, this follows. If it's not the case that beauty exists eternally, this follows. That's the dialectic. The understanding. It leads to knowing beauty itself because it happens to actually exist. The two together is wisdom. Belief is the shadow of that, or the distortion of that, because it claims to know things they don't know, and it rejects understanding. And also, its knowledge claim is that there is no knowledge claim. I know what knowing is, and you can't know God, says believers. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to believe. This is the bullshit that people are fed growing up. So it's not hard to make this, to see that this is why belief is the cause of human problems and murder and genocide, etc. So we have our skill tree. A skill tree is, as we just did, we had a set of 2s. So on that skill tree, we have that purification and perfection. We also have excellence and pseudo-excellence. You can take this branch and rub it up against this branch to gain a new insight. So I look for patterns of 2s, like pseudo-excellence and excellence, and fate and destiny, and that's our skill tree, our skill trees. Skill trees. Also, we're playing with 3s today. Triads. 3s. Also 4. The dialectic has 4. Are there other groups of 4? And 1. Can you give one word answer into the meaning of life? Philodianoia. Dialectic. Master the art of the dialectic. Know thyself. Can you connect all those 3? Have fun. Connect it. Take those 3 answers, single answers. The meaning of life is to master the art of the dialectic. The meaning of life is to study philodianoia. The meaning of life is to know the self. Make a sentence that brings them together. That's the skill trees. So this is what it means to be a philosopher. Or philodianoia. And we need to link it in with love because we have to be inspired to do it. And we have that progression through your relationships, falling in love with a beautiful person, and going through those stages of development. Pardon me. And we've been collecting these patterns, these triads, and these 2s. But you can also mix 2s and 3s together. For instance, the 2 would be purification and perfection. And that can apply to 2s, of course, like removal of belief, perfection of understanding. Here, listening to you still. Oh, great. I'm glad I'm not just talking into the void. Thanks for checking in. Understanding. My pen's being silly again. Give it a bit of a shake. Like, on my YouTube feed this morning, there was Hassan Piker. It's always important that when there's Hassan Piker slop controversy, balance, that you say more about what you're seeing about balance. that you, like from what I've understood, to get hits on the YouTube algorithm, you should mention Hassan Piker or controversial figures. And there are people whose whole life is built around Hassan Piker slop videos. And today, one such slop video was Hassan Piker has a shot collar or hurts his dog. That was what YouTube fed me today. I need to like your YouTube. Yeah, everything. It's a slightly abbreviated, like when I have pauses, I like to get some coffee. I pause it so that they're not quite as long, but they're all up there. Don't go back too far. Stick with the ones that are later because I'm wiser and handsomer. I've matured into my streamer. I don't know. Actually, there's some good ones back there, like the first... I was going to say the first hypothesis of Parmenides, but that's a bit esoteric at the moment. No, my pen was being silly, so I needed to open it up a little bit and shake the battery, just like Hassan shakes his dog. Shake my pen like Hassan shakes his dog. Ooh, snap. So now I'm going to get all of the clicks on YouTube. Hooray. He doesn't shake his dog, I'm sure. It's just YouTube slop. But that's what I got today on my algorithm. Okay, but you can also take this one level... Yeah, I'm brave. Someone called... I'm brave. Also, you can apply it to threes. So here we have our threes. So how can you understand this in terms of the individual, you, yourself, in this current lifetime? You individual. Oh my goodness, the pen didn't shake into goodness. Your soul and mankind. We got another one from the book. Jesus was trying to remove people from tribal gods. Is a different color. So purify from tribal gods. Socrates was also trying to purify unjust laws. And as we saw last time, laws can either be to enshrine and protect the beliefs of society, or they could be just laws based on the logos and understanding. And Socrates says that's why he liked his trial, because he was able to share understanding to address the prejudices or false beliefs against philosophy itself. Okay, so now that you've got twos and threes, you can play. This is the exercise you're here to do. First of all, arrange them. Of these, just using these sets of threes here, you can do several things. Look, you can, number one, arrange them. Oh my goodness. Does tribal God fit individual? Does it fit the movement of your soul through many reincarnations, or does it fit mankind? Do laws align with individual souls or mankind? Now, I might get you started and say maybe laws to mankind? I don't know. Arrange them. Number two, apply principle to each. So we've got purification of beliefs and the perfection of understanding. Now, you can make this task easier because you've got a whole skill tree of 2. Excellence and pseudo-excellence, fate and destiny, all of those other ones that are 2s. So the more 2s you have, the easier this exercise is going to be. The greater a Sherlock Holmes problem solver you're going to be. So now we can apply whatever 2s you have here to each of them. What would be the purification and perfection of individuals? What would be the purification and perfection of souls? What would be the purification and perfections of mankind? Now, we've been given a few head starts. This is why the author is one of the many reasons why this author is so amazing. He gives you a head start. He says, hey, mankind is here to purify the entirety of clan beliefs. The soul is here to experience and purify the entirety of self-masks, individual identifications that block you from seeing and knowing the nature of self and reality. So you have to, what would be the individual? And also, if he's given you the purification, you do the perfection. So now you're applying that principle to each of them. This is your development of your understanding, which is the exact purification you're here to do. And as you go through that exercise, you will find beliefs that come up that block you. I don't want to do it. That's a dumb exercise. You're dumb. Socrates is dumb. Pierre Grimes is dumb. Understanding is dumb. Fuck you. I'm not going to do this. You're dumb. That's going to be a reflection of your parents calling you dumb in that way, in that manner, in that tone. You can get clues from your body. Remember, Sherlock Holmes. How did you feel when you called yourself dumb? How did you feel when you called this dumb? Did you have any mannerisms? You're dumb. Did you do this with your hand? Who does that in your family? Did you screw up your face in a certain way? Hey, easy if they're old, because they have those lines baked into their foreheads and their face now because they've been not perfecting their true self. They have been spending their life ingraining themselves into their masks they haven't purified. So you can see those facial expressions and body languages baked into the face and gestures of old people. So did you do it? Did it reflect your nan? Or your pop-pop? Or your peepa? Or your nuna? In other words, you are going through this perfection of your understanding by this exercise because understanding is the solving of problems through what we've outlined. This is us. We're lovers of understanding. What does understanding do? We lose. Here we go. We win.
It's a win-win.
We always be winning.
It's a win-win-win-win-win.
You're drunk, Oracle.
It's a win-win-win-win-win.
Oh my god, so drunk today. This, which is also, so we can add what we just described, play with what? Play with, no. Play with analogies. Analogies is the use of understanding. It's the anagogic use of understanding. We are breaking down how specifically to play with analogies. It's anagogic. We went through this a couple of eps ago. But basically, again, using of... where is it? Here. So, we've been looking at patterns of 2s and 3s and things. Well, here's a pattern of 2s. The self-logos parts, whole and part, same and different, like and unlike, etc. There's 12 of them. But we've got here Same and different. There's a two. What are the another two? What are the two things that exist in the universe? Things and relationships. So again, you got a two of things and relationships. You've got another two of same and different. That's a pair. Rub them together like sticks from your skill tree and you gain an insight. What's the insight? Well, what if we take these terms and relationships, and this is what we're saying. The next step is play with analogies. Okay, let's mix them up. What if we had same terms and different relationships? And what's the other option? Different terms, same relationships. Well, what we've been seeing in the book is the same logos terms, whole, part, unlimited, limited, same, different, and there's 12 of them. Same terms, but the relationships are different in the different cognitive stages of development humans are in. So the reason we're in our problems as a human race is the majority of people, and especially the ruling class, are people characterized by belief-based cognition, same terms, same logos, but it's a relationship of conflict. They're in conflict with themselves. They're in conflict with their spirit. They're in conflict with other people in their group. And they're also primarily in conflict with understanders. The fascists hate the people who are trying to be good and think and understand. Look at Trump's entire cabinet. The EPA guy supposed to understand and benefit the environment doesn't understand the environment and wants to destroy the environment for profit. The education minister doesn't understand education, doesn't care about children. Brainworm dude. Brainworm, leather-faced, frog throat guy. What's his name? He's the head of the American medical whatever. Has no understanding. Rejects any understanding of vaccines and things. To hurt and kill people. He's literally responsible for the deaths of thousands of people already, and more will be on the way. Now, we can predict that. We don't have to experience the next RFK or the next EPA sellout or the next Trump or the next Hitler or the next Putin or the next Netanyahu. We don't have to. Because we've seen it with one fascist characterized by belief. We see it with many, Trump and Yahoo and Putin and RFK and Musk and Bezos, and we've seen enough to go to a all. What's the principle that makes all of these people act against reason and benefit? Why do they want to see people hurt and suffer? Why do they hate people who are thinkers? Why are those the first person people sent to the concentration camps? Now we've gone from learning about the physical world to real philosophy, the principles. What's the principle? The cognitive function of belief. Why? Because belief is in principle in opposition to understanding, because if you understand, you don't have to believe the lies. Also, understanding is true. Belief isn't. It's just what you believe from someone else. Why are they against benefit? Because belief can't reach knowledge. Knowledge is that feeling that Socrates said, I would not mistake for anything else. It's the model of justice, truth, and beauty that's used to benefit people, just as a doctor needs a model of a healthy body to benefit patients. They don't have that, so they can't benefit. They don't have that feeling because belief doesn't have that feeling. They have to substitute a feeling they can do. Belief can't help, but it can hurt. It can break sandcastles. It can't build sandcastles. So the feeling of inflicting suffering on human beings, they take as a surrogate for what it means to be knowing. Sadism. The reason why cruelty is the point for not just one fascist or billionaire or oligarch or clergy leader, not just many of them, all of them. The reason why they are sadistic the reason why they're against benefit is they are addicted to sadism. In principle, forever, for always. The reason why they can't, or they're in opposition to understanding and reason, is that's what they're in conflict with. That's what they're taught to hate, and that's what challenges their clan belief. If everyone understood the Bible, there wouldn't be fucking Pauline Jews, modern Christians. If everyone understood Socrates, we wouldn't have Aristotelianism, materialism. If we could understand, we could be unified as a race, because what's universal is understanding. It's not a thing, it's just the apprehension of the principles that are always true and beneficial. That's what it is. It's the only way that can save the human race. That's why philodianoia, the love of understanding, is the new way of being of the new age that's necessary if we want to save our race from extinction. Everything we've just said allows us to go from one tyrant to many tyrants to all tyrants and all planets and all species and all time. That's our triadic movement we've been talking about today. To principles or causes. And it's fun. It's rational, Apollo, and it's fun to see it all come together into a beautiful whole. Not just a beautiful whole, but a beautiful whole that we can use to make your life better, to make your relationships better, to fucking save our human race from extinction. That principle of that intelligible whole that you can see and share in and actually affects you, that's the principle of Aphrodite. It's not just beauty. It's a beauty that affects you, that you can use, that you can come together yourself. Okay? So, same terms, whole, part, limit, unlimited, different, same, different, whole, part, unlimited, limited, same, different, and the other three pairs. Different relationships. So while that's the nature of belief, understanding is a beneficial and rational, the thing that we want of anyone in charge. From the whole, the logos, to the parts. From you are yourself unlimited while you follow the logos and understanding, but you can help people who have their belief-based limits. So each same terms, different relationships, give us the unfolding of all of the cognitive functions of development that human beings go through. That's creation. So we've understood the nature of creation. Oh, and by the way, that also applies to levels of reality. Because you can say knowledge is whole and part, but it's the whole of all parts. It's completely unlimited or infinite, but there's nothing outside it, so it's also a one. The oneness. So, what are we doing? We are playing with our skill tree of twos. We took one branch of the twos, same and different, took another branch of twos, terms and relationships, they're the two things that exist. We played with them, and what do we get? As a result of rubbing sticks together, playing with analogy, we understood the nature of creation. Isn't that interesting? The levels of reality that have unfolded and the level of cognitive functions that unfold. From self. From one into twos. Also, we could go the other way. Different terms, same relationships. What's that? You are describing analogy. So while the unfolding happens in this, same terms, different relationships, you're reverting back to your source or your personal development, psychic development, spiritual development, philosophical development, all of them is the exact same, but different terms and, well, not the exact same, they are same twos, same two sticks rubbing together. But we change the terms and keep the relationships. That's our reversion through analogies. What does that mean? What we're doing here. We're reverting. This is why we're playing with analogies. And where is it on the board? Where were we? Uh-oh, did we delete it? Oh no, we were scribbling over the top of the triads, weren't we? Here we are. No, not that one. Yeah, we were here, weren't we? Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay, so apply the principle to each is that anagogic, upward reverting movement towards our highest cause, higher levels of reality, higher cognitive functions, by playing with analogy. So, if our job as mankind, again, we have to arrange them. Let's say we've arranged laws underneath mankind. What's the purification? The purifications of unjust laws that are to preserve tradition or belief. Then what would be the perfection? You do that. In other words, you apply these twos to each of these threes. Also, fill in the gaps. Now, a good author like Mr. Grimes here would give you gaps. In other words, we've matched mankind to laws. We've matched one of these to tribal gods. We're missing one. What would be the thing that would be whatever we have left over here? What's the missing term? Because we need a 3 to match the 3. Fill in the gaps. So, purification and perfection apply to... Actually, maybe fill in the gaps should be number 2. Arrange them, order them, because if you've ordered them, then you realize there's one missing. This one is missing its corresponding term. Fill in gaps. Apply the principle that you're playing with to each. What is mankind here to perfect and purify? What's soul? What's individuals? How is that expressed within the collective? Tribal gods, laws, and what? That's how you play. That's the Sherlock Holmes. So we have a picture of our Sherlock Holmes pipe. Like this. That we be smoking. Because I can't draw the deerstalker hat. Sherlock Holmes pipe. Oh, that's terrible. Needs to be more round, I think. There we go. Maybe do the bowl first. And then that, and then that. There we go. Oh, it looks like a crack pipe. Don't want to do that. Spending entirely too much time on this drawing. There we go. Sherlock Holmes pipe. Playing with analogies, arranging the terms, filling in the gaps, applying principles to each, and maybe pushing the implications, extending. Can you find another term in a list? Can you go from 3s to 4s? So now you can look at your other skill tree of 4s and say, oh, this 3 actually looks similar to this 4. I can drag that stick and rub it together and extend the analogy. Extend the analogy. Hooray. Wow. Extend the analogy. Another way of saying that is push the implicate. Oh. Yeah, I think and now that you've got that, you can push the implications, which is not quite extending the analogy in this direction, but in any direction. What does it mean to you? Push. How can you apply it to other things? How can you connect it to what you're reading? How can you connect it to other things you're doing in your life, in your relationships? Push the implications. This is how you play with analogies. And let's move it down a little bit. Let's move it. We're kind of in a direction going here. Let's keep, just so I can find them in the future. I'll put it like down here. Maybe the direction we're going. Right. From one to many to all. And the fact that you can play with analogies in this way for yourself, you can bring them together into insights. You can feel that insight, the joy of having the insight in your body. You can push the implications and apply it to your world so it's not dead or dry or meaningless. That's the principle of Aphrodite. And this, when you do it and you see it and it affects you, you are inspired. This is the inspiration we need along with our reading. And by the way, any beliefs that come up that block you from this activity, you can't be inspired. No Aphrodite. You can't reason through this. No Apollo for you, my friend. You can't keep going until you master the dialectic in Hermes to reach the true nature of self. None of these principles for you. Theology, those are all lies. They feel true, that's why you need courage. Even though they feel true and they're familiar, your job as an individual, as a soul, and as a member of the race of man is to do this, to understand those things while being it yourself. Because if you understand these things, which is what we've been doing, which is the use of analogy, the skill trees, that's understanding. Taking our skill trees, our questions, and taking our questions, applying it to our skill trees to create hypotheses. There's our question sack, our if sack, and our skill trees. That's the hero's journey. You are yourself understanding. You are understanding what it means to be an individual soul and a member of mankind while in it. That's the difference. That's the rub. You are in it. Meaning, not only do you get to develop understanding by reading and solving puzzles in this way with our Sherlock Holmes pipe, but you will at the same time be surfacing within yourself as an individual, as a soul, as a member of mankind, the beliefs that prevent you from understanding. Meaning, as you play this game, have 2 books open, have 2 documents open, and get to writing down the notes of all those thoughts. It's not hard. You don't have to be a master of anything. You don't have to be good enough to do it. It comes to you. All you got to do is write it down. It's that easy and fun and simple.
Where's the joy? Where's the childlike wonder, dude?
So it's joy and whimsical. It's fun for us.
The more holes, the better.
Raising ourselves to more holes. Perceptions of greater holes. So, trying to save my sound drops.
Hey, whoa. Who asked you? Okay, go ahead.
So, as you're developing your understanding, you're surfacing those beliefs. Automatically, they happen anyway. Notice, this isn't an effort thing. The fact that you have to try hard and you have to squint and you have to furrow your brow, just like the lines you see in Nun and Pop's forehead because they've been furrowing their brow for their whole life. Different from other grandmas and grandpas. Different from other Pops and Peepas and Nuns or whatever. I'm trying to think of funny names for them. But it's not effort. It comes to you anyway. And your puzzlement isn't effort either. You are naturally, as a soul, as an individual, as a member of the human race, you're naturally curious about your puzzles. You don't like feeling sad. You don't like being blocked. You're naturally curious about your puzzles. And you're naturally curious about yourself. Notice this is a falling away of everything that has blocked us. That's the purification. So as you play this game, hopefully you've got something that's made you curious enough to play this. Apply it to the text. No beliefs that you're carrying with you. And as you apply that, as you have these steps to any analogies that come up in the book, look for the analogies now. Discover the questions and the answers. You will naturally have the thoughts, feelings, images, voices, states of feeling states, tensions in your body that come up to block you, meaning you're also getting what you need for the purification element as well. And that dialectic that you master through this game applies to each. In other words, you can find a pattern, repeating themes, an analogical connection to moments in your past, all the way back to a root origin scene. And you see the elements, just as the elements in each of these levels of analogy apply to each, so too, you will find key themes or key people, figures, roles in your origin scene that's been analogically applied to your present in those thoughts. In other words, the negative thoughts and feelings that come up to sabotage or block you or prevent you from this activity will itself be another puzzle to solve. And you've already got your Sherlock Holmes pipe in your mouth, so you're ready to go. It's a false analogical connection. Just as by playing with analogy this way in understanding, we are becoming like the divine because we're using the same logos or using same and different and terms and relationships in an artful way to move upward by being like the divine that unfolded downward. That's what we are doing in our development. But equally so, it's the exact same principles and conditions that are in place that allow for that get usurped by this. We are becoming like our parents. We are making our present like our past. Like, by the way, was the same terms, different relationships. That's likeness. Likeness. Some things are the same, some things are different, so it's like. So we are becoming like the self that unfolds into different levels of reality by playing with analogy, same relationships, different terms. So why is it analogy? Because the relationships we see here, hey, the way in which we relate to one person to solve problems, we then see relate to many people to solve problems. Now it's a principle of the dialectic that solves all problems. All problems are a removal or purification of beliefs. All excellence is a perfection of understanding. Therefore, that relationship on the physical level can be applied to the next level of metaphysics, can be applied to the next level, or even this is a level. And that's necessary because our development is to jump levels. We are improving, we are upgrading, we're leveling up. So, our leveling up in an activity of analogy, which is like the divine self or the noble self that creates reality. A likeness. And our problems is the exact same thing, only we mistake our origin scene where our parents or parental surrogates appeared beautiful, appeared knowing, appeared strong, appeared to be that divine or noble self. So we take our past and we'll take our present and make it like our past, which chains us to our fate and our failures and our suffering. It's analogy. There's a false analogy we apply, which means if it's analogy, it's solvable. So fundamentally, problems by definition are solvable. The way we solve it is through analogy. The structure of doing that you can call the dialectic. Just playing with analogy. So those voices will have an analogical equivalent to that origin scene you're here to have. And equally so on different levels, your past expression of this state of mind that says don't play this game played out yesterday, played out last year, played out when you were your Christmas time, played out when you're at school, played out in childhood. But you can analogically trace those same relationships through different terms, not just me reading a book, me applying for that job, me talking to my girlfriend or talking to the girl that I like, me trying to graduate college. Say, same relationships, different terms, analogy, tracing it back to the origin that becomes the root analogy that keeps us chained to this problem. And if we can make those analogical connections, we can see through it, we can challenge it with the dialectic and logos and become free from it. That's the purification. So by playing with these analogies that we discover in the text, we are going through both the perfection and purification that we're here to do as an individual, as our meaning of life. We're here to do as a soul, as the reason why we reincarnate, and we're here to do as a race, as the race of mankind. And it's fun.
You've been a bad little
Whore. Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike wonder, dude?
Lots of fun. Lots of fun. It's an analogy. And as you go through this, you can reflect on yourself as you do it, because that's part of it as well. Not just having the experience of going through it, but reflect on the experience. And then you can awaken new puzzles. It's a win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win-win-win.
Because we also saw that this tracing the problems of our present that chains us to our suffering and negative fate can be traced back through analogy through the past to its origin analogy, and realize that our soul seeking the true nature of self and reality or mind, so it's supposed to be the analogy for excellence and justice and beauty and goodness that needs to be applied to every law, to every mythological representation of principles or God, to every something. So in other words, the principles and condition and nature of our soul is supposed to have this as the root analogy of justice and beauty and excellence, meaning the cause of problems is actually the cause of our excellence. We just have to get the pretender off the throne, which is the use of analogy to trace back to the origin scene. Meaning we can do it for our laws. Who wrote the first laws and why? and for tribal gods. And that's what we've done here. In the book, we have been tracing the fact that, hey, hang on, what's the cause of all of our, or the large majority of all of our mass genocide, wealth inequality, suffering, exploitation, slavery, sexism? Oh, religions. Which religions? The big three. Judaism, how are the Palestinians going? Christianity, how are those Iraqis you murdered going? And what's the other one? Islam. And, I'm sure they have a bunch of genocides under their belt too. It's always the fucking same. It's not personal. It's the nature of belief. But we can say, oh, what is our future? Armageddon, the rapture, blowing up everything so Jesus comes back. Or even if it's not for Jesus coming back, that's where we're headed. We can play out the conflict of belief within the soul and to other religions and to other people with nuclear weapons. In other words, we are bound by the chains of fate to end all life. That's our future. Its cause is playing out in the present. The Jewish state genociding Palestinians, the Christian Nazi state of the Trumpers genociding their own people, or in the act of trying to create their own, against thinkers or the left, against understanding, against difference, not helping people who are other, but blaming them from the problems caused by belief and capitalism. So that's happening in the present. But what we've done in the book is trace that analogically same relationships, different terms, to other things like the Nazis, but all the way back through human history to its root analogy, Abraham. The root cause within our culture of problems, the Abrahamic religions, that chains us to the extinction of all life and perpetual human suffering till the end of life, has its own root analogy cause, as Abraham was instructed to sacrifice what he loves and murder his own son because God says so, so too do modern Jews, Christians, and Muslims have to do the same. Whether or not they're aware of it, I'm almost certain they're not aware of it because they haven't done the fucking work. But we can see it, and it's true. We can even trace the Abrahamic thinking even back further to Zoroaster. Problems are not caused by this. Beliefs that cause our ignorance and are cause of problems because they're in opposition to understanding and solved through understanding. No, it's not a problem of belief versus understanding or ignorance versus wisdom. It's a problem of good versus evil. That's why anyone you don't like, just beat them up or murder them. Zoroaster. So we can even trace it back. So again, we're solving problems and developing our excellence through the use of analogy. That's thinking. It's analogy that plays out the same relationships, different terms through time. That's human experience. That's physical world experience. We see the implication of these principles playing out on various different levels through time. Hopefully, to the extent where we wake up and say, how about enough of the bullshit? Let's solve problems and create an excellent self, an excellent soul, an excellent race, and an excellent cosmos. Let's do that. That's our game. And this is how you do it. And this is the book that allows you to do both, purification and perfection. Therefore, we can push the implications, which is step 5. What have we done? We've arranged, like in this very activity of one problem, so we can put number 6, reflect on the process you've gone through. Which is an Usia movement, self-reflection. to do the same. So what have we gone through? Let's reflect on what we've gone through. Okay, we have gone through an activity ourselves right now of missing one, missing one, collect. Let's move this all down a bit. Okay, so number one, collect the terms. We have been collecting these terms from the book. We have arranged them in an order that map that are connected. We fill in the missing gaps. We apply the principles to each. We even see if we can add more to the analogy. We can push the implications and apply it to what is meaningful to us in our world. And then we can reflect on the process. Now, I have seen there are 7 steps. And as we've been going through, we've been seeing that there are 8 steps of the dialectic. And if the dialectic is the structure of reason, there might be an 8th step. So, what have we done? We have collected this. Okay, there's 2 levels here, right? Now we are reflecting what we did with the book, but now we can reflect on what we did as a principle. We are ourselves right here collecting the terms of solving puzzles. We can arrange them. We've arranged them in a set, haven't we? Fill in the gaps. Because we've arranged them, we realize there's probably an 8th missing step, because 8 is the structure of the dialectic. 4 if it is, 4 if it isn't. Definition, demonstration, division, and conclusion. If the thing exists and if it isn't. Meaning, fill in the gaps. So, another gift to whoever's watching this is, what's the missing 8th term in this process that you could add to make it better? Again, you don't know. It's not supposed to be true. It's supposed to be a likely hypothesis you carry in your if sac. So hopefully that question has inspired someone to maybe find the 8th term in this process. Okay. But what have we done in the book? Collected the terms from the book up here. Individual, soul, mankind, tribal, gods, laws, and question mark. Arrange them. Well, your job is to do that. Fill in the gaps. We're missing this one here. Apply the principles to each. How do each have a purification and perfection? Extend the analogy. Can we add more into the list? Push the implications. What does it mean for our world? And reflect on the process we're going through right now. And that's what we're doing right now. So, we have a book in our hands or on our screens that allow us to go through the very activity of perfection and purification by learning analogies and playing with analogies to purify our own problems, pseudo-excellence and injustice, and at the same time perfect our own, again, by analogies, applying it to either this and the problems that come up. So you don't even need the book for those. Well, you do to be doing this. By applying the analogies to our book, we are perfecting our understanding. And as you do so, you'll surface the thoughts that become the exact clues for your purification. But you've been learning how to apply analogies, so you have exactly what you need with you in your back pocket to purify yourself from your problems. That's justice. That's what we're here for. That's the meaning of life. And that's how goddamn good this book is. When I say it's a banger, oh my God, what an understatement. Isn't this fun? Hopefully it's fun. And that was the idea of today. To add to our reasoning the idea of fun or inspiration, to see that it can come into a whole. Aphrodite. To see that it's beautiful when it becomes simple for you. It's joyful, that's Aphrodite. To see that it applies to your life. It makes you better in this life and beyond in your soul's journey. That's Aphrodite. You can share it with your loved ones, and you can have amazingly good relationships, better relationships. That's Aphrodite. That's the inspiration needed to play the game. That's Aphrodite. That inspiration of seeing the parts come together in wholes, that personally meaningful, the joy that you feel when you see it coming together. See the beauty of it. You can push the implications. That's Aphrodite. The inspiration you need to play with Apollo through analogies. And that's what we're here to do. That's the mastery of the logos culminating in the dialectic. And as we go through that, the dialectic is nothing other than the use of this structure and the questions that you can ask to establish that pattern of analogy, same relations, different terms. It's just the skill of it, and you can practice it and get good at it. And share it with your friends over coffee. All of these principles are universal. Even if our human race does go extinct, there will be another race that discovers them. Maybe there is one right now on the other side of the cosmos, or another multi-dimensional multiverse universe. Now, hopefully we can connect and share our work together. That would be fun. These are the implications. The implications of doing this is, if all of these terms are just universal units of thought, same, different, like, unlike terms or relationships, they apply for everyone. They're literally how we evolve. They make us like creation itself. Then there must be, perhaps, either in this universe or a multi-dimensional universe, other living beings who have awoken to logos and self-reflection too. So to push the implications, which is part of it, right? Part of the fun. Push the implications, number 6. Then maybe if we do this, we can ourselves as individuals or as a human race connect with other species going through this process and share our work, help each other along. Analogously to our Discord. So you can join the Discord if you want to do that, people, in this dimension. Literally, necessarily so. And we can solve not just a problem, not just many problems, all problems. Making it the hero that doesn't just save one rec center or one dance hall from being crushed by some capitalist so the cool teens can do their breakdancing. Not just many dance centers, but all. By putting an end to capitalism itself, or oppression itself. So, one, many to all, or an individual, to recognizing it's not just in that individual instance, to recognizing their principle. And the people who my goal is to reach out to and connect with in this channel is people who are themselves interested in understanding and interested in, experience their own spiritual experiences, or having them, or understanding the ones they've had, and also caring for people. People who love understanding and want to actually help themselves, help the many people in their lives, and help our race. Those people, again, one, many, all. Because if you're doing it, I encourage you to do that 7th step. Reflect on it. What makes you better than others? Now, don't fall into number 5, the modern Democrats that say, oh, no one's better than others. We should compromise with the fascists because they're no better or worse. People are the same. Yes. Fuck off. Don't do that. If you are that sort of a person and you are going through this, you are better. Definitionally better. You are more evolved and becoming better and able to do better as well. Functionally as well as in nature. In activity, Apollo. In power, you've got greater power to do good. So this is the triad. So all of the triads have existence, your nature is better, your ability to function or act is better, and you have a greater power to act. It's no good saying, I want to help people, but I hate understanding. I want to help people by making everyone Mormon, or making everyone Scientologists, or making everyone Nazis. That's not a good power. Your activity won't be good, and your existing as a Nazi soul is bad. Compared to those people, if you love understanding and genuinely want to purify your beliefs and perfect your understanding to know the true nature of yourself and to function from that authentic self to benefit all living and non-living beings, that is a greater existence. You are better. Your activity will be better, and you have a power to do that activity. So that's our triad from 1, 2, 3. So even though these two go together, this is the second term. So Apollo, Aphrodite, and Hermes. So it's those people who we encourage to go through another 1, 2, 3. Doesn't just apply to you, doesn't just apply to the many, it applies to all, which means it's a principle. The study of principles is what we're doing here, allowing us to solve all human problems individually, as a soul, and collectively. That's the hyparxis. So that's my goal in this channel, to reach out to people who love understanding and want to benefit, to provide them the map to do that by going through 1, many, all. 2, principles. That's metaphysics. Personify them as gods to make it easier. That's theology. And recognizing that even that has a hyparxis, the intelligibility of all of the principles of justice, beauty, that benefits all people because it's the hyparxis of the previous level, has its own hyparxis. That's the logos, that study and mastery of the art. So this is the reflection that we are encouraging the best people to do, and if you're following this channel, it's probably you. To realize that, yes, even this has a bunch of terms we can collect, arrange, fill in the gaps, apply a higher principle with, extend it, push the implications to, or reflect on the process we've gotten to reach this, to apply it to this, to realize it even has its own hyparxis. That's the logos, the intelligible principle of even being, meaning it's the logos we want to master through understanding. So understanding reaches beyond knowing, which is curious, which is why we call it philodianoia, to know the self. And we want you to know the self and show the self. So not only knowing the self, but having that dialectic which you use to reach it, to show it, to benefit all living and non-living beings, including us, the best noodles. Us, we good noodles up in here. That's the game. That's the message. And this is the book that we are using to do that, because, oh my God, what a banger. I hope you had fun. I hope you were inspired by how all of the parts we've been collecting in this series can come together in a whole and benefit us. And we can share that, extend that to all good people, and explain why. Not, I believe it's going to help people. No, it's the principle of helping. I believe it's going to be rational. No, it is the principle of understanding for all. 1, many, all. And also, hey, if you're lucky enough to have someone like this in your life who also is a good noodle, then each of those stages of personal development or cognitive development is matched by an experience of beauty you can share with such a person. And the movement is the same, from 1 to many to recognizing it's all. But make sure that you, as Pierre Grimes would say, make love with the lights on. In other words, add logos. Share your words, your highest vision, and your highest understanding, which is nothing other than practicing the very art you're here to do, the dialectic. Match love and logos, and you're doing what you're here to do, and benefiting everyone by speaking up about it. And hey, create as well, because you are a philosopher by functioning as a philosopher. And if you can share that love and logos in your creations by making harmoniously ordered or rational Apollo works of art that come together into a whole, Aphrodite. That's kind of excellence that can inspire others to do the same. And that's what we're here to do. Know the self and show the self through the logos. We have fun.
Where's the joy?
Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike freaks?
The more holes, the better.
More holes, the better. On that, thank you for joining me. Follow along on Twitch. You can subscribe on YouTube, and you'll find our past streams, past episodes on YouTube. You can join the Discord if you like. We talk about stuff there as well, and I share mini essays there sometimes. And if you want to support the channel, there's a link to the PDF below. And if you want to support the channel, it is greatly, greatly appreciated. I make a lot of money doing this, so trying to keep the lights on. That'd be greatly appreciated. Any contribution. There's a link to that below as well. Thank you once again. Have fun. Be inspiring. And be yourself. I'll see you in the next one. And then I press the button.